Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Deuteronomy. Today we begin chapter 6. Now we've spent the last several days looking at chapter 5 because it is the repeating of the 10 commandments as Moses gives them to the people. They had first received the 10 words many years before at Mount Sinai, and now Moses, before they enter the promised land, renews the covenant with them by giving them the 10 commandments again to remember and to commit themselves to. Now, as we move into chapter 6, the first paragraph of the chapter, Moses makes a promise to the children of Israel. Be sure to follow these commands of God, and it will go well with you. Notice the promise. It is so strongly stated. These are the commands, the decrees, the laws the Lord your God directed me to teach you, that you are to observe in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess, so that you and your children and their children after them may fear the Lord your God as long as you live, by keeping all his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may enjoy a long life. Hear, Israel, be careful to obey, so that it may go well with you, and that you may increase greatly in a land that flows with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has promised you. So Moses states very strongly for them the absolutely certain promise of God. He has given you his commands that you may know how to live as his people. And when you possess the promised land, as you will, this is the way you are to live before God. If you follow his way through faith and obedience, you will have long life in the land. You will prosper. It will be well not only for you, but also for your children, for your grandchildren, and on through the generations. God's promise is certain. He has given you his law, his commands, his instruction, so that you may know how to live as his people and that he may bless you abundantly. It's always good to have the promises of God. They are absolutely certain. Now, when we read chapter 5, we looked at the heart of the law. That's the 10 commandments. And we hear the promise of God. But there's still a lot of Deuteronomy to go. Moses has a lot more to say. What more does he have to add? Well, what we're going to see as we read through the rest of the book is he takes the foundation of the 10 commandments and applies that. He reminds them over and over again of the center. Worship only God. Love only the Lord your God. Make him your first priority. He warns them against idolatry over and over again. That's in the 10, but he keeps throughout the rest of the book reminding them of that. And also, he gives a lot of practical instructions about how the people of God will act and behave and how they'll set up their life once they get over the Jordan River and possess the land. So he's going to talk to them, for instance, about the one place of worship. Once you're in the land, you're going to set up one place, one central place to worship the Lord your God. You're only going to worship him, but you're going to have one central place of worship. He's going to talk to them about some of the festivals and rituals they will observe, such as the Passover and the Feast of Fruits and those sorts of things. We'll look at those when we come to them. So he'll talk about the rituals of worship to keep you focused on God. He'll talk some practical things about how you set up civil administration of the land. He's also going to talk to them about how they will take possession of the land. He says there are nations over there that are stronger than you, but you are going to go in and take possession of the land by my strength. He's going to cover those things as well. And he's also going to talk about how you'll be blessed if you obey the Lord and how a curse will come upon you if you disobey the Lord. So all of the rest of the book of Deuteronomy will simply be a detailing of what's contained in the 10 commandments. This is the foundation of how you should live. Now let me give you some of the practical steps of how you'll live this out once you come into possession of the promised land, knowing that God has promised he will bless you if you follow his ways. So as we move through the book of Deuteronomy, we're going to see a lot of different instructions, all that flow out of the 10 commandments, and all giving practical advice on how the people of God ought to establish their life, their society, and their nation once they're in the promised land. Always keeping themselves loyal to God, always worshiping only the Lord, and never being led astray to idols like the Canaanites do. So that's what the rest of the book is about, but of course we're going to spend some time looking at the details. But always keep in mind, God has promised, if we follow his way by faith and obedience, he will bless us, and our lives will be full and abundant. And that's a good promise to remember and to keep close to our heart, for God never fails to maintain and to keep his promise to his children. Amen and amen. Hope you join us next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Deuteronomy.